What do you want to start with?
You want me to start with Slippery Trashmouf?
Let's go for it.
Go for it. So, as Snedds said there, Postulated Substance Abuse by Slippery Trashmouf was released on the 28th of February, earlier on this year, on SpeakSleazy Records. It's a 5-song EP. It's approximately 13 minutes and 41 seconds long. Slippery Trashmouf, otherwise known as Oozing Goon, Kid Scummy, Little Dumb Shit, and Young Snot Bubble, is a Scottish rapper and entrepreneur from Livingston. He owns his own independent clothing brand called Goon Mob, which he's been growing for a number of years now. This is his first EP to date. His first EP, Cat's Motel, was released on the 3rd of March last year, and his second EP, What the Fuck, was released on the 3rd of July last year. So, as it turns out, I've actually seen him rap before.
Right?
Yeah, well, not seen him. I've watched a video of his.
All right, okay.
I watched a video of him rap before, under the pseudonym Oozing Goon, on a YouTube video from a channel called Scotty Media, which is a Scottish media channel aimed at promoting rap, hip hop, and grime singers and songwriters in a series that they did called Rep Your City Cypher. And it featured Spawn Zero and Barz Fury, both of which feature on this EP.
Okay.
On a couple of tracks. So yeah, it was quite a revelation. I think it was actually Tom, of all people, that sent me over the video to watch. Obviously quite a while ago now. I couldn't tell you when that video was released. At least a couple of years ago, I think. So anyway, in the press release that we received from this album, it announced that Slippery Trashmouf is serving up another batch of lo-fi, I can never fucking pronounce this word, existentialism, with his new EP. Coincidentally, the opening track, Commercial Break, opens with Slippery Trashmouf saying that he's meditating soon. You know what I mean? Channel your chakras and shit. Think about Alan Watt and what he said in this situation. Probably stop smoking so much weed, you dumbass. Over this kind of Eastern sounding melody, possibly a sitar. I really don't know. It's quite fitting as the person he's speaking about. Alan Watt was a British philosopher responsible for popularising Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism in Western culture, and there's small snippets of his interviews with him rather, scattered throughout the course of the EP. There's also a reference in there to William Golding's Lord of the Flies later on in the EP. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that this sort of thing isn't typically in my wheelhouse. However, like Kneecap, I actually quite enjoyed it and found it quite refreshing hearing somebody with a Scottish accent, somebody who speaks like us, kind of do this type of thing. I particularly liked hearing words like hing, coothie, and hunna being used. That was really cool. And I really quite enjoyed the kind of beats and the kind of musical compositions on the track as well, particularly on the third track, Quality Control Center, which for my money was kind of similar to the type of thing that you might have heard on the Rap Forever album that we covered previously. It has that same dreamy sounding kind of xylophone sound. What about yourself, man? What was your kind of initial thoughts on the...
Yeah, well, I'd been, so for a number of like the playlists over the last few months, the alternative music playlists, I've put a few of Slippery Trashmouf's tracks in there. So I've listened to some of his stuff before this EP came out. Not as maybe far back as that video you were talking about, but within the last year, I've listened to a few of his tracks. I think Spalding was the first one that I heard, right, which is really good. And he had a Christmas single out, which is called Seasonal Defective, and it's just a really kind of depressing Christmas song, which is the sort of Christmas song that I like. If you go and listen to the kind of the Christmas playlist that I update every year, you'll get the idea of the sort of Christmas song that I like, and it's
morose,
sad and depressing, like, or evil kind of sounding stuff. So Seasonal Defective fits right into that. But like you said, I like how unashamedly Scottish his rapping is, and like he's not doing things, he's doing things, and it's just there's just a nice relatability. It's refreshing to hear that kind of thing. There's just a sense of fun and humour alongside a kind of don't give a fuck attitude that he's got. Commercial Break's a really good opener that, like you said, there's that sort of Eastern meditative, try and say that word 3 times fast. Eastern meditative. try and not say it like a robot. An Eastern beat. So
yeah,
there's that, which is quite cool. And then I like the next track, Retail Therapist. I think it's Spawn Zero that guests on that. And I just like the opening line that goes, I feel like Jesse Pinkman, I'm chained to this lab. The only difference is the chain of command. And I don't know, I'm a sucker for a Breaking Bad reference. So
I really like his vocals, though. I really like Spawn Zero's vocals on the tracks as well.
Yeah. And then, like, Quality Control Center, like you said, I completely agree with you about Rap Forever. There's that same kind of tinkling percussion, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think my personal favourite track is probably Happy Little Mountains. It's got this kind of like feverish but melodramatic piano loop. And then you've got the guest Barz Fury, which is like a great rapper named Barz Fury. And he kind of, spits bars on the first half of the track. And I think of all the songs, it's the one where the beats and the raps kind of intertwine the most naturally. And it also opens with a Bob Ross sample, and there's a few more interspersed throughout the song. So that's quite unusual to hear Bob Ross talking about which brush he's selecting to begin painting. So yeah, that's my favourite track. So you've got to mention Hypnokid, who I think provides all the beats. There's a real sort of classic hip hop feel to the beats. Like reminds me of I feel like a name drop Jurassic 5 a lot when I'm talking about hip hop, but that's because that's my kind of favorite era of hip hop, and it's just kind of sample driven, and it sort of brings in that old school sound without sounding dated. So. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this.
What did you rate it, Snedds?
So, I've given it a 7.
Yeah, I've given it a 6 or a 7.
The standout track, Happy Little Mountains, that's really, really top-notch track. I think it's brilliant. And I'm just excited to hear what this guy comes out with next, because he's quite prolific, and he drops a single like every month or every few weeks, it seems. So there's a lot of creativity there. I mean, obviously he's got a clothing brand, and he started up this record label as well. So I think it would be interesting. There's obviously a kind of a culture of young Scottish rappers here. So it'll be exciting to see kind of what these guys either together or individually come out with in the future. So yeah, enjoyed this, and it's kind of exciting for what's to come.
Definitely, man.
Cool. So that was Postulated Substance Abuse by Slippery Trashmouf. It's just fun to say, isn't it?
But I love how it's spelt as well, because it's spelt how we would say it.
I went F. Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, totally.
I'm meditating shit, you know what I mean? Channel your chakras and shit.
What they both talk about is politics.
I feel like Jesse Pinkman, I'm chained to this lab. The only difference is the chain of command.
I'm singing songs to the moon, slow dancing. I love my bitch, but I don't do romancing. I'm taking everything that ain't nailed and leaving ransom.
I was left on the road. Get a penny for your souls, let machetes go, I don't follow any code.
I'm in your place playing Space Invaders, laying waste to refrigerators, eating pounds of the cake and layers.
He's not finished.